Okay, let's find a spot on your mat in a nice comfortable place. And what we're focused on initially is just working on posture. And as you sit, having a flat back with ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips. And if you need to, use your block to help accomplish that. Now we'll take a few nice, easy breaths here, letting yourself be long and tall, and then letting those hips and knees open and fall toward the floor. Good. And next, what you'll do is bring both legs out in front of you. And you can use your hands if you need to for a little bit of balance. And again, just focusing on being tall and long. And easy breaths. And if you feel like those legs are working really hard here, that's okay. They're probably helping keep you from tipping backwards. But over time, as you work on this, it'll get easier and easier. Turn to face you. You can still keep your block here if you need. You're going to take one arm behind and the other arm reaching across your knee or thigh, wherever you can, while still being long and tall. A couple deep breaths. And you use the time that you need for each of these poses or stretches. If you feel you want to take more time in one pose than I have, absolutely do so. Do what your body needs that day in that moment. As you take those big deep breaths, allow those ribs to expand. And they'll help you stretch your spine and open up this chest area for getting that posture to be nice and long. Good. Okay. Then we'll bring one arm out to the side, a little outrigger there. And then we're going to reach with the other arm as best you can, keeping that arm in line with your body. And we'll tend to want to reach forward as you come up, and that's okay, but maybe just coming up to where it starts to creep forward, and just stay there. If you can go up a little farther, great, but if not, that's okay. And we'll reach our outer ribs up toward the ceiling, keeping pressure on your seat bones equally, not just dropping over to the side here. Get nice and long, creating a big long radius of your spine. Okay, let's go to the other side. Have my right arm down on the mat, left arm reaching up, like I'm trying to get that upper arm to my ear, but if you aren't able to do that, just finding that spot where it stays, and then bringing your right ear toward your right arm. Pushing those left ribs up close to the ceiling. Big long radius of your spine. Change positions here. Bring our hands and knees to the mat. And then we're going to do our cat-cow. Okay, so we have our shoulders over hands, hips over knees, and taking one vertebrae at a time, tucking your tail and raising up through your upper back, and then tucking your chin. And then slowly unflexing and going into your cow. Good, and you can time this with your breath, doing a breathe in this position and breathe out in the cat. So breathe out. Then breathe in. And then breathing out. And breathing in. Again, going at your own pace. If you feel you need to stay in one position longer than the other, that's just fine. Do what your body needs in that day and that moment. And then out. All right, now I'm going to go into child's pose, just relaxing back, trying to get your tush to your heels and your arms out in front of you wherever you land, okay? And this is always a good position to come to relax. If there's other yoga that you're doing that's kind of a hard thing to do, you're not, the body isn't quite ready for it, this is a nice spot to go to when you've had enough. Okay, and then we're going to come up out of this position, and we're going to do a thread the needle. And this, I'm going to take my left arm and bring it underneath here, okay? I'm going to reach your hips back again towards your heels, and you can continue to breathe in this position here, getting a nice stretch through the back of that left arm. And then over time, and with practice, coming down farther into that stretch. And this is a nice rotational stretch. And again, being nice and long through that spine. One more breath here. And then we'll come up and bring your right arm to the other side, just dropping that right shoulder down, looking to the left, and rocking back. Okay, now from this position here, let's go ahead and lay on your side, okay? And we'll go with the left side I'm laying on, so we're going to have the right leg forward, and wherever you're at, you can, the more stretch, you're going to be up here, come closer to your face with your toes. But we want that leg relaxed, and if you need to modify it by using your block, you can do that. So that leg stays relaxed and get a nice stretch through here. And we're gonna open up through the shoulder, bringing your right arm back. And again, this could be modified, having another block over here, or your foam roller under your leg and your block behind you. And if that's still too much, you can always just keep this hand close to your heart and letting that elbow drop back. Good. That one always feels so good. Okay, now we're going to roll onto your back with your knees bent. And from here, palms up. And you're going to let your knees go to one side, go to the left. And just let that left go all the way down however far it goes, and the right however far it goes. And they just work independently. And then we'll go to the right. And back over to the left. And really try to relax through those lower ribs, so they'll have a tendency to want to come up. And then letting those shoulders just coming down to the floor. Let's do one more time to the left. And then we'll come back over to the right. And now we're going to lay on our right side with your right leg in front, using your block if you need, and bringing your left arm back and opening the chest and lower back. Okay, now from here, we're going to roll back over towards the right, and then coming up onto your hands and knees, back to our table position. Walk those hands back nice and slowly, and coming up into a nice stand at the end of your mat. And then from here, bring those arms up. And then gently, we can do a swan dive down, bending at the hips, and then letting your head and hands follow into your forward fold. There may be a tendency to bring the hips back so that you can get those hands farther. But try to keep them over your heels a little bit more so your toes are working and get more of a stretch in those hamstrings, and over time, over some practice, you'll be able to be here a little bit closer to that forward fold. And staying here as long as it feels comfortable, or if it doesn't, you can stay up in our standing mountain pose. Nice easy breaths. Bend the knees gently into chair pose. Coming back up into standing. Good. And we'll do one last stretch here. Coming arms up overhead. Down into our forward fold. And then I'm going to have you walk your hands forward into, with those knees bent and heels off the floor, in a modified down dog. And as you get more elongation through the backs of those legs, you'll be able to straighten up more through your hips and back flat and heels closer to the ground. But again, always be where your body's at, and we want you to experience this in a kind way through your body. No forcing. And we'll bring those knees fully down. We're going to end again in child's pose. And if you find that child's pose is still a little bit difficult for you, the other option is to roll onto your side, and then onto your back, and being in our corpse pose. I'm just taking a moment here for some nice deep breaths, letting those shoulders open. And if your head doesn't want to touch the floor, you can use a pillow, a yoga block, having a little folded towel ready. It's also a great one to do on your foam roller, if you have that ready. Just breathing in nice deep breaths, and then breathing out anything you don't need. And let that out breath just breathe out anything you don't need from that day, anything from that week. Breathing in what you do need. And you can stay here for as long as you would like. All right, I'm going to roll to my left side. Slowly sitting up. And back to center.